Well, my name is Brinsley McNamara and welcome to the Weird Ireland podcast. Okay, here we go. St. Patrick's Day is upon us, or International Ireland Day we could call it too. The 17th of March is the feast day of one of the patron saints of Ireland, St. Patrick, the 5th century Christian missionary who is celebrated through the centuries and still strongly around the world in 2025 with parades, shamrocks, the colour green and typically a lot of drinking. But who exactly is St. Patrick? What are some of the traditions of the day? And what's on this year for it? Well, I've got just the man here to bring us into the day and drown the shamrock with. Shameen O'Burke. How are you doing today, Shameen?
I'm alright. Not too bad.
Good. You looked a little tired there earlier.
A little bit of drinking, so a little bit locked.
Yeah, do you know that expression to drown the shamrock?
Yeah, that's when they put a shamrock at the bottom of a pint.
Do they?
Is that not what it is?
Well, I mean, I know it's to do with drinking.
Yeah,
I know drinking's involved. I know they put a shamrock at the bottom of a pint.
I think that's what it was.
Jesus.
I don't know what to do with it. I've never seen anybody do it.
I've never seen anyone do it. I was actually looking up some older accounts from the 1930s in Ireland of just what people did on St. Patrick's Day, and they actually did use that expression, drowning the shamrock.
Yeah.
But I assumed it just meant getting locked.
No, it's something to do with putting a shamrock at the bottom of a pint, and I think you either drink it, if you don't drink the shamrock, you throw it over your shoulder for good luck or something. I have a feeling it might be like an Americanized tradition from the Irish diaspora.
Maybe. I mean, we must give it a go this year.
Is it diaspora or diaspora?
I always say diaspora, but you're welcome to say whatever way you want. Yeah. I've heard a guy at a pub quiz saying titanium instead of titanium. So here in town in Daly's. So, whatever you want to go with. It's funny you mentioned about the Americanization of the tradition or that kind of thing. Because despite St. Patrick being one of the patron saints of Ireland since a long time now, over 1,000 years, the St. Patrick's Day parade celebration is actually more of a North American thing in origin.
Yeah. That started back in the 18th century and it came to Ireland about the late 20th century.
Something
apparently. Like
that. Yeah. So late 20s. Yeah, thereabouts. I mean, when I was looking up the older accounts in the 30s, I don't remember reading anything to do with a parade. Yeah. I think there probably could have been a procession, but just a sort of religious procession,
Yeah, so the first St. Patrick's Day parade was in Waterford in 1903.
In Ireland, like?
Yeah,
in Ireland.
In Waterford.
Really?
Yeah.
We must go.
And then around 1916, after the Rising, it was kind of low key. And then it was low key up until the establishment of the Irish Free State. Right.
And I'm pretty sure the earliest, I mean, I've heard a couple of places saying that the first documented St. Patrick's Day parade was in Florida in the 17th, like the 1600s. But apparently that's a pretty recent discovery. Otherwise, they would have attributed it to Boston or New York in the 19th century.
Yeah, Chicago as well, I think.
Chicago, yeah. And it was more of naturally it being a parade. Parade's what the army does, what military does, military parades. So it did come from that, seemingly.
Did it not start with like Irish men who went to fight the American Civil War or something like that?
That adds up enough in my mind.
Or the parade's part anyway.
Or at least even descended people. Yeah. I mean, funnily enough, when I was going through the older accounts in the 30s from the Dukas collection that I mention all the time, they mentioned drowning the shamrock. They mentioned... Well, here's a weird one for me, at least for me. They mentioned wearing an item the colour green, which shouldn't be a weird thing, but like my entire life, I never once wore something green on St. Patrick's Day intentionally. How would you dress? Okay, going back over the last 30-something years for your St. Patrick's Day, me personally, I never made any special attempt at what I was wearing that day. It was just what I'm wearing now would have done. Whatever you're wearing now would be what you're probably going to wear on Monday.
I usually just dress like I usually do.
Yeah. No focus on the colour green whatsoever. It's just how you just dress.
Yeah, I have a feeling it might be another American thing. Like a lot of the traditions we have for Paddy's Day come from the American influence,
I guess. But even in the 30s, they were talking about it in Ireland doing it in the 30s. Yeah.
It was also for a while in Ireland. It was like a religious holiday, so you couldn't buy alcohol or anything. When was that lifted again?
That's the thing. About 1960 or the 1950s. Yeah. That is a funny thing. It was. I mean, technically, it is still a religious holiday. It's still the feast day of St. Patrick. Yeah. And there used to be a lot more religious connotation.
It was 1967 when that was repealed.
67, okay. Yeah. But there used to be 3 black days of the year. Right now we've got one. Christmas Day, it's 25th of December. That's one of the black days. It's illegal to sell alcohol that day.
Yeah.
Used to be Good Friday, but that stopped in 2018, I think.
Yeah.
But our whole lives up until that, it was you couldn't buy alcohol on Good Friday. And then previously up till that point, the St. Patrick's Day was the same thing.
Yeah.
Changed for tourism, seemingly.
Yeah. Paddy's Day was cancelled 3 times as well.
Let me have a little swing at the guess. I distinctly remember the 2021 getting cancelled because the COVID outbreak was literally days before that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a wild guess and say 2021 was cancelled. That's not even a wild guess. 2022 did happen. It did happen, didn't it?
I wasn't in the country, so I can't really. I can't remember. The 2021 definitely, probably 2021 as well.
I'm pretty sure 2021 as well. It was still pretty rife at that point. I'm pretty sure 22 went ahead. I could be wrong. Well, okay, what's do you know what other ones are that?
The third one was Foot and Mouth.
Oh, that's true.
I can't remember what year that was.
That's the late 1990s or early 2000s. Yeah. Not that I remember that or anything, but I did read about that. Yeah. And each time St. Patrick's Day kind of changed afterwards or something like that. But got more revelry after that in Ireland at least. So only once for foot and mouth disease.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know what that is fully, foot and mouth disease. It's just something I heard about when I was a child and then stopped being relevant.
Something spread around cattle or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it affected us. I'm not really sure, to be honest.
We were too young to really know a whole lot about that, you know.
I didn't look too much into that one anyway.
No. We can leave foot and mouth where it is in the past. I think it's in the past still. Yeah. Well, how about, okay, that's St. Patrick's Day in general. In Mullingar town, that's where we celebrated most St. Patrick's Days of our life. What do you remember? Okay, before the age when you were drinking, because naturally when drink comes into the equation, it changes a lot what St. Patrick's Day is. When you're a kid, what's St. Patrick's Day? What happens here?
The parade goes through the town. You have all the Wallace recycling trucks and the tractors. The army had come through as well.
Sometimes vintage cars, I remember sometimes.
Yeah. Town bands.
Tobacco club.
Sometimes you'd have animals from petting farms, and so I remember seeing goats and stuff like that. Yeah, when I was younger, anyway. Then, like for me, anyway, because remember, parents owned a bar.
Yeah,
I remember just being going around the bar as a child as well. But memory of that is a bit faded. Yeah. But other than that, I would have just watched the parade from the front door of the bar and then come back inside.
Yeah, I did remember that from when I was a child. Paddy's Day was just go down, watch parade, go home. Need a day off. That was it. Then when drink comes into the equation, how did Paddy's Day look around that time?
Find a nice field, a ditch along the canal, drinking there.
I was in my late 20s until I drank in a bar on St. Patrick's Day. I maybe even 30s until that happened. You don't really just drink outside. Or in someone's house. That would really be it. It'd be too packed. They used to be way too wedged.
Yeah, I don't really like going out in the evenings on Paddy's Day because of that, because it's too packed. During the day, it's grand because there wouldn't be too many people around. Yeah. It'd still take a while to get a drink, but it's not. The evenings are just ridiculous. Like,
well, how do you describe Paddy's Day weather? Because there is in Ireland, there is such a thing.
It can be a little bit sunny and a little bit blustery at the same time.
One thing that I always know is St. Patrick's, because oftentimes a lot of the years it's actually pretty nice weather. It's kind of sunny, but it's not summer. It is spring still. Yeah. But the main thing you find is you're drinking outside, and the next thing it gets dark way earlier because it's not summer. It's daylight savings time hasn't even happened yet. Or pardon me, it's not turned into the summertime and with daylight. The clocks haven't gone forward or back. Spring forward. Yeah, they haven't gone forward yet. So it actually gets dark at like 7 o'clock in the evening or something like that, and then you have to go somewhere else or whatever.
Even later sometimes, would it be? Can't remember.
It's pretty dark by 7.
Yeah.
What time is it now? I mean, it's a lot later now, 20 to 9.
20 to 9, yeah.
But, no, I mean, have you ever been... I've been in Dublin on St. Patrick's Day once.
I've never have.
You've never done it?
No.
All right. I was there once. My sister was living in Dunleary at the time. So I can't remember what we did in the city centre. Oh, wait, no. We were... one of our buddies, we were drinking in he was in... He was going to Trinity and he was living in inside Trinity at the time. I don't know, you weren't there for that one. You were drinking there, and then we left, but like the streets just get so crowded, we just went back to Dunleary and just drank in the house basically, you know.
Is there only one parade in Dublin on Paddy's Day, or any like the outlying bits like Dunleary and have a parade? Dunleary's a good bit out, like. True.
I honestly did not even see the parade that day. And it wouldn't even I never look at the parade really so much. It's just, I don't know, there's a lot more. Like years ago, the parade really was everything you described there. It wasn't special floats or anything. It was just things going through the town. Wouldn't even be really dressed up for Paddy's Day. Sometimes it's just things driving through the middle of the town. That's it. You know.
Yeah. I know it's a different story in Dublin where they have big floats and stuff like that. I've never seen it, so I don't really know what happens there. Does Galway do a big one? Or?
Surely. Never seen it, to be honest. The only ones I've ever seen in Ireland is Mullingar and Delvin, and that's it. Delvin and Westmeath. indeed. Yeah. They had a mad one last year. They had a mad one.
Oh, yeah.
Because last year they did it the day on the 18th of March, the day after.
Yeah, you were at that.
Yeah, I was at that. That was class. That was way better than
lads dressed like Joe Dolan.
Lads dressed like Joe Dolan, waving knickers around on a bicycle. Lads, I don't know, one guy driving a van, even though he wasn't part, there was a float on the van, but in the van he was wearing just like a goblin mask, lads on motorbikes and Darth Vader mask. It was just a day where everyone go mad. One guy going around in a float and he's dressed as Elvis and he's fake playing a guitar, and in the pubs, all three of them in Delvin, three of them in Delvin. He was just going around all the pubs, Elvis impersonating for the rest of the day. That was absolutely class, to be honest. Yeah,
it doesn't seem very Irish, but I don't know. I suppose that silliness might be a celebration of Irishness.
I think big time. I think big time. I mean, I mentioned in other podcasts, like how Wren Boys is people dressing up in disguise at Stephen's Day. Biddy Boys doing the same thing Biddies on St. Bridget's Day. Then of course there's the Halloween dressing up. So I don't know, that kind of a day of the year where people just kind of like can dress in disguise and act stupid. That's like where there's no rules. Well, there's no rules in inverted commas. So you just go around and do what you want. I feel like it's kind of a celebration in that sense.
But you can kind of drink on the street a little bit as well. Like
a little bit.
Kind of a bit overlooked now. If you're mildly drunk now.
I've seen mad drinking in Dublin during it on like just really, free for all, basically. And Mullingar wouldn't be that easy.
Because I remember we were up in Dublin years ago for Arthur Guinness Day.
Oh Jesus, I do remember that.
There was people locked all over the place. Like,
that was ridiculous.
Isn't that why they got rid of it?
It was a terrible idea. It went on like 5 years. That was the 17th of September, I think, or something like that. And it was just a big marketing Paddy's Day Part 2.
Because I have a distinct memory of me and you. Anyway, I don't know who else is with us on in Temple Bar. Not the bar, like the street, and I remember I was just drinking out and nagging a vodka on the street and stuff like that. So that
was an awful idea. That whole Arthur Guinness Day thing. Yet as an era we can look back at and like, what was that? Like, what was that going on for like 5 years?
It wasn't 5 years. I thought it was like 3.
No, it was more than you think. Because I remember when we were in secondary school, it started. I distinctly remember we were at the very end of it. It actually started. Then I went a few years after that, but about maybe 3. Maybe you're right. Maybe it was, I'd say 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I was too in favour at the time. I knew what they were doing, so
it was fun all the same. But your luck. So what do you know about tell me what you know about St. Patrick himself? Well, the day that we're celebrating, I mean, St. Patrick is pretty removed from the day that has his name, because now it's just a celebration domestically and internationally of Irishness and Irish identity, and that's a lot of fun. That's great and excellent. Who's the guy? What can you tell me about the guy that it's named after?
Well, he's technically isn't from Ireland. He's Romano-British.
He's definitely not born in Ireland. He's there's an interesting thing with that. People generally, if you ask people generally on the street where is he from, they'll say Wales. I normally say Wales is where they say.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
There's no definitive proof of exactly where he's from. They know it's not Ireland. I'll actually just mention here. I was telling you earlier. There's 2 written accounts by St. Patrick in his life, which was about the 5th century AD. And now these survive through a text called the Book of Armagh that was written about 400 years later. But they're pretty sure he actually wrote it. And it actually opens with saying, I'm not going to read a huge amount of it, just as one particular line. And by the way, this is translated. This is written in Latin originally, so I'm just going to have to trust the translator. My name is Patrick. I am a sinner, a simple country person, and the least of all believers. I am looked down upon by many. My father was Calpornius. He was a deacon. His father was Potius, a priest, who lived at Banavem Taberne, a Latin name. His home was near there, and that is where I was taken prisoner. I was about 16 at the time. So there is kind of the big mystery in the text. It gives the location where his grandfather was from, and this is near where he was taken prisoner, so presumably where he was from. Banavem Tabernier. That is the clue they're trying to go on. Where is that? That name seemingly doesn't make any sense anymore. They can't, or at least they can't line it up anymore. Not just, I mean, they just can't line it up anymore. But there's nothing distinctly to say it's from it's Wales. Only that it's on the right side of the country. It could be the north of England. There's a lot of people that believe it's the north of England. There's
Cornwall if it's on the. Sorry, that'd be the.
I've never heard anyone say Cornwall. You do is the Scottish borders that gets brought up. Yeah. Some people even mention Brittany and France possibly. Cornwall, I've never heard that brought up. That could be it too.
Actually, because I seen online as well that when he came back to Ireland, a lot of the converting he did was up in the north, so he could have been from somewhere around Stranraer, which that's one of the closest points to Ireland. That's in Scotland though, so
it is.
He was Romano-British, so he wouldn't have been up that far.
Hadrian's Wall is quite a bit south of the current Scottish border actually. But there still could have been influence around that area. The main thing is no one fully knows exactly where, and whenever anyone says he's Welsh, even that would be an anachronism calling him Welsh. A place called Wales didn't exist, nor England, nor Scotland. Romano-British, you're using the right term there. Yeah, not that he would have said that, but I don't know what he would have said. But here's an interesting thing. So Patrick's not his real name, or Patricius would have been the Latin name for it. Any idea what his real name was?
No.
Maewyn Sucat.
All right.
Yeah. At least now I have gone through his text, and I can't see exactly where that's written, to be honest. But that's the name that gets thrown around a lot. That's his real name, and when you become kind of like, you know, the way the Pope, like, that's not like the current guy Francis, that's not his real name, and even nuns, you know, will take a new name altogether. I think it's a similar religious practice like that, basically. You know? But there's even a lot of disagreement over when he was born. They normally give it about the early 5th century, but a lot of places say it could have been the late 4th century. We don't really fully know. Yeah.
Most of the time I seen online it was like 5th century.
Normally it's the early 5th century, but it's not conclusively sure. But he describes himself being 16 years old when he's brought to Ireland. He's there in captivity for, I think, 6 years or thereabout before he makes it back there.
Has he seen something he worked as a shepherd or something?
Oh, yeah. That's mentioned. mentioned.
And then apparently he found...
So pardon me. Also in his Confessio, a short text he wrote that's partially a biography of his life. A little bit more into it. After I arrived in Ireland, I tended sheep every day, and I prayed frequently during the day. So he became a shepherd. Well, not shepherd. He was an enslaved shepherd for his duration there. But no, he would have come from an upper class sort of family. His father being a deacon, and his grandfather being a priest. So he probably would have come from an upper class family in Roman Britain. Yeah.
So who or what were the snakes then?
Oh, what were the snakes?
Yeah.
We're going to the... here's the interesting thing. Okay. There's a lot of things attached to the legend of St. Patrick. Not even the legend. Some of it's outright the case. The tradition, the lore of St. Patrick. One of the most definite and oldest ones is March 17th. Why is St. Patrick's Day March 17th?
I don't know, actually. It's something I didn't look into.
Oh, no. It's the today. It's the more than likely the day he died.
Oh, right.
He died on March 17th. But going into the oldest accounts, it brings up the March 17th thing comes into it. So that's a very old part of the tradition. The colour green for him, apparently he was more associated with blue prior to that. Green, green comes into it in the 19th or 20th centuries. It's the Ireland national colour. Yeah. The snakes thing comes into it. The snakes thing is still hundreds of years old, but it's also comes into the story hundreds of years after he dies. So what are the snakes? Are the snakes real serpents in Ireland? Probably, almost certainly not. Is it demons? Is it what did you come upon?
Because I've seen that some people think it's an allegory for pagans.
That's the big one. That is the big one that people say. It's actually a lot of story. There's one particular place in County Tyrone. Altadavan Wood, I was there not long ago. It's got a St. Patrick's chair in it. Not the only St. Patrick's chair. There are many St. Patrick's chairs. There's one in the Hill of Lara in Westmeath, and there's one on Coney Island in County Sligo, and those are just the ones I can think of off the top of my head. The one in Tyrone is it's like a big stone monolith, mostly natural stone monolith. It's really impressive when you see it. The story attached to that place is that seemingly Altadavan Wood used to be a place of pre-Christian ritual and worship. When St. Patrick, being the missionary that he is, gets word of this, he goes over there. What they say about Altadavan Wood, the name of the place, is that it translates to Demon's Cliff or Devil's Cliff. And the idea is that because it is sort of on a... the chair, the St. Patrick's chair, the stone chair there, is sort of on a height, and there is a bit of a drop below it. that he cast the demons or he cast the devils down there, and figuratively speaking, he's casting away the paganism or the pre-Christian religion of the place and Christianizing it. So I mean, I don't know why exactly they came up with this allegory or where exactly this came from in a later text, but I've heard that one.
Yeah, like we were talking about this a few weeks ago, but like the pagans in Ireland, the ones that still practice it. Like, what's their opinion on St. Patrick's? Because they've seen online, like, I don't know if it's entirely true. They just see it as a celebration of Irishness and just don't really look at St. Patrick. But I don't know. I really haven't looked into that much.
It is an interesting area because a lot of the other kind of big event days of the year in Ireland are related to some older tradition. Halloween comes from Samhain. That's kind of... that's one of the big ones. St. Bridget's Day from an older tradition as well in Balk, or at least it's that same time of year. Not that it's necessarily exactly related. May Day on its own isn't really that much of a thing anymore. In some parts of the country it actually was May Day, but the Bealtaine festival then too. Lunasa gets no love. Nobody really does anything except for the book Dancing at Lunasa, which I didn't read.
I remember that.
Is that Irish? Is that for Irish curriculum or English curriculum in school?
I don't know.
I didn't do it anyways.
Remember,
I think it's Irish curriculum. It's a movie as well. That's the only time we'll hear anyone talk about Lunasa, which is August. Yeah, Lunasa's August.
I think so. Yeah,
I think it's August. Yeah. Whereas St. Patrick's Day, or the 17th of March, isn't really related to anything like that. I mean, it shouldn't be because it's in a way it's the opposite of those kinds of things. It's the Christianization of the country. I've actually seen online a lot of talk about, or a lot of comments about rather, from some of the videos I put up coming up to St. Patrick's Day, how and I can't tell how genuine anyone's being or how much anyone's trolling that. Celebrating St. Patrick is celebrating like a guy who committed genocide against Irish and could destroy their old beliefs and stuff that. Yeah. So I think there is kind of some degree of maybe more keyboard vitriol than anything else.
Yeah, it's a bit of a hardline approach. But
I've never heard anyone use that line before, but no, that's at least some of the angles I've seen online. Not from only one or two people, I will say as well. So I don't know. I mean, to the extent that these days you see St. Bridget's festivals happening, and it's a lot more of a neo-pagan look to it. Especially in the last few years, and Samhain, big time around the country, has a very neo-pagan sort of movement to it as well. And Bealtaine doesn't really have anything that's going on except for the neo-pagan thing a lot of the time. Like Ishnock, the big Bealtaine festival in Westmeath, that is more neo-pagan kind of celebration. But St. Patrick's Day, I don't think you're going to see anything like that anywhere. I think it is the mainstream, the shamrock, green, drinking. All this kind of thing. All right, but no, going into the present day of St. Patrick's Day. Funny that you talked about Dublin having more than one parade, and I think you mean more than one.
I don't know if they do. That was just wondering. Like,
I presume so. I don't know, to be honest either. But interestingly, there's at least two places in Ireland that have two parades on the very same day. One of them you already know about. I'm going to go there on Monday for St. Patrick's Day. Miles, you're driving. I hope. I was going to ask, can you hear us with those earphones on? Of course you can. They have the dawn parade at 6 a.m. And then they have a normal parade at like 1 o'clock or noon.
And the other one's up in Armagh, I think you were saying.
In Armagh, I didn't know about that until really recently.
What town?
I don't know. I didn't ask, to be honest. Somebody was telling me that. I didn't even know that was a thing until I thought Dingle County Kerry markets himself as being Ireland's earliest St. Patrick's Day parade at 6 a.m. I wonder, is the Armagh one also at the same time or even earlier, or I don't know. The Armagh one, though, the early one doesn't look like what you typically think a St. Patrick's Day parade looks like. There's a drum and fife band.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's a military looking drum kind of band. And nowhere near as many people gather on the streets. It's in the hundreds. But that's a really old tradition there.
They love those pipe bands up there.
Oh, they do. Yeah. But the story behind that one is, because I've had to ask people why exactly is there a 6 a.m. parade. And I found a couple of explanations are kind of related. It has to do with either the land war in the 1880s, where public gatherings were not allowed between dawn and dusk. So they just did their St. Patrick's Day parade before dawn, so they couldn't get in trouble. And the other one is basically the same thing, that it had to do with not allowed a St. Patrick's Day parade during the British occupation. So So instead, they would do it at like really early in the morning before anyone was up, like for any officials were up to be able to see it and stop it.
Get it out the door.
And they still do it to this day. I'm actually buzzing to see that one. And that one's just through the town of Dingle. They actually go to the church and go to mass for a bit during, and then finish up. It's about an hour and a half in total with the whole thing, and they end it with a rendition of Aaron Naveen, the national anthem. And the Armagh one, I honestly, County Armagh is the one really associated with St. Patrick. Down as well, but that's because he's almost certainly buried in Downpatrick, County Down. But the strong association was their County Armagh. So I presume that's why they're too. So that's what I'm going to be doing on St. Patrick's Day. Up to Dingle, there for the parade, make some videos, post it, get breakfast, get on it basically, and then we'll have the day off from content for the rest of the day. I'm not going to deliberately wear anything particularly green, just because for the longest time I honestly thought that was just something that you remember the TV show Recess? Yeah, was that Nickelodeon?
Disney Channel.
Oh, was it Disney Channel?
I think so. I don't know actually.
Whichever one. You know the one I mean. Yeah. I'm pretty sure in that, and there's an episode of that where they'd like bully a kid if he wasn't wearing something green on St. Patrick's Day. And that's the only place I'd see that. We wouldn't do that at all. We wouldn't avoid it. We just wouldn't even think of it. You know. So I'm not going to go on my way to wear anything green or that.
I know in America they have a thing like if you're not wearing green on St. Patrick's Day, you're getting pinched. Yeah. So I don't know.
Well, what are you going to be doing for St. Patrick's Day?
I'm not sure yet. Really? I'm going up to Dublin tomorrow, and then
on the 15th.
On the 15th, and then I don't know if I'll stay in Dublin or come back to Mullingar.
There's nothing going on the 17th, the day itself.
Well, like nobody's off on the Tuesday, so I don't know if there'll be anything going on. Like if there's people going out for pints, I might. But I'll be drinking the previous 2 days, so I might be
Paddy's Eve.
Yeah, I might be a bit dead before that.
Paddy's Eve, I used to think that was kind of because I remember years ago one of the guys talking about being at a Paddy's Eve house party in Longford, and when I heard him say a Paddy's Eve party, I thought that was the funniest thing. I was like, that's just such a joke, like taking it so far that now you have Paddy's Eve, like Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. I know that's actually a little bit of, people have been calling it Paddy's Eve for a long time. I've learned looking back.
Remember the Three Sisters in Edinburgh have a halfway to Paddy's Day party.
Oh Jesus, yeah, that's the 17th of September. Because that'll be 6 months. Yeah. That's the 17th September. I did see that. We didn't go. We saw on Facebook of that. Jesus, it's
a real money grab.
Yeah, that's by a farce. Yeah, I don't know. In a way, because drinking is so attached to the day, and that's not an old thing. You would think. I used to be slightly under the impression that it was like, you know, Celtic Tiger came into Ireland, money came into Ireland, and people started drinking a lot more because a lot of older people say that's what happened. But no, even going back to the 1930s in the record, there's a lot of drunkenness, and even going back in older historical records, there's a lot of drunkenness going on that day. And going back a long time, because St. Patrick's Day is always during Lent. I think it's always, because Lent can change what time of year it is. I'm pretty sure it always is during Lent. And a lot of people say the thing you gave up for Lent, you can partake in it on the 17th of March, because very often people give up drink, but you can drink on this, and turns out that's a very, very old idea relating to St. Patrick's Day. The thing you gave up in Lent, you can have it in St. Patrick's Day.
The Lenten restrictions were lifted for the day, but
what did you give up for Lent?
Nothing.
Me neither.
No.
Yeah,
I haven't thought about that since I was very young.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I used to give up a few things at Lent every now and then, just for something. Just do a bit of personal abstinence. Yeah. Like right now, I'm not drinking at the minute, but you're hammering into it.
Barmen hate Lent as well.
Do they?
No, it's just loads of people give up drink, like, so it's bad. It's bad time for business.
And wouldn't be great either. Well, except the Six Nations is on, so that brings people in, you know. Yeah. But other than that,
the Six Nations has been around for too long.
Especially not in its level of popularity as it is now. I wouldn't think, you know.
Well, that was only people who give up things for Lent anyways, because Catholicism is fairly.
It used to be fucking huge Lent. It used to be like in school. You'd nearly have to
you'd have to tell the teacher what you're doing.
You'd nearly have to they'd nearly have to administer it, you know.
Administering Lent.
Do you remember that St. Patrick's Day in when we and you lived in Edinburgh, and there's not like, because in Ireland you actually get a bank holiday. Yeah. We were just saying this beforehand. The place you get a bank holiday, all of Ireland, you get a holiday for St. Patrick's Day. Yeah. Labrador, Newfoundland province of Canada. It's a public holiday.
Newfoundland. You said Newfoundland.
I think it is pronounced that way.
Is it?
I believe it is.
Oh, right.
I say Newfoundland as well. Newfoundland. Not that I was deliberately trying to. It's just that's the way it came out of my mouth there.
Yeah.
And Montserrat, the island of Montserrat, the British overseas territory in the Caribbean.
The Emerald Isle of the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's what they call it. I was looking up for a while, like if there's any interesting St. Patrick's Day celebrations going on anywhere in the world that'd be worth looking at, and they always mention Montserrat.
Yeah.
I don't think it's particularly unusual. I think, like, I just don't think it's actually anything really crazy happens there. I think that gets brought up because it's a public holiday and it's just like a small island in the Caribbean. It just seems kind of random.
They speak Irish there.
Do they?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Really?
Yeah.
Montserrat?
Yeah, they have Irish names as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think it used to be some kind of penal colony or something for the British, and it was a mix of like Irish and Africans that were like planted there, and that's how the cultures mixed.
Maybe. I don't know the most about it.
I was hoping you'd know more about that. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, maybe. I was actually only recently looking at a map of the Caribbean and trying to see which parts are like overseas territories of which country. It's very complicated.
Just to say what I said there might be conjecture now. I'm just kind of going off the top of my head about that.
Well, you have had a lot to drink before coming on this.
Yeah.
By the way, you're actually drinking and I've given up drink till St. Patrick's Day, so that's why I'm not drinking. But that's why I'm kind of subjecting you to it. But what do we have? We've got football special, the Donegal soft drink. We've got and we've got rum, and we've got Jägermeister, and we've got vodka. And the idea is that Seamus McDade, when he was the guy, the fellow who owns McDade's football special, he said there was a bar in Donegal that used to do a drink called a football hooligan, and it was vodka, Jägermeister, football special. And you're the most keen on that one.
I like that one. Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
this isn't a paid advertisement.
This is not at all. Not at all. Thank you though, Seamus, though, for all the work you do. But and now we've got because he actually did say not that it's a named cocktail, but he said it goes best with rum. So we're like, we may as well give that a go too. You know what's gone on that is the football hooligan.
Yeah, football hooligan was better. I'm not a big fan of Captain Morgan, so that's why I'm not really feeling the Captain Morgan and football special now.
What should I have gotten you?
Well, more football hooligan.
Fair.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I was going to mention, when we were in Edinburgh. Do you remember there was one particular St. Patrick's Day where it was...
Is that the one where that stupid house party?
Yeah.
That was a great house party.
That was brilliant. That was our finest hour.
It was, yeah.
I think it was a Friday. And,
it was, yeah.
Which
with the whole weekend. Then.
Yeah, with the whole weekend. And not... But the thing, do you remember Freddie was living with us too? And he...
Freddie?
Yeah, my cousin.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I didn't know who you're talking about there. Yeah.
And he rang into work to call in sick. And work was like, that's cool, and happy St. Patrick's Day, Freddie. The guy said to him on the phone.
That was a great party.
Do you remember we made that St. Patrick's Day music playlist that literally went on for 24 hours?
Yeah. Everything was on that.
Everything.
Westlife, the Dubliners.
Name any Irish band, name anything, and it was on there. Name any Irish tune, it was on there. We were weeks making that. Weeks making that.
I must try and find that for this weekend.
The idea was, because normally, like, at least, I don't know, the way I'd look at it is like after noon, once it hits noon, you start drinking on Paddy's Day. And you're going all day. So I think the idea was it would start at noon on the 17th and keep going till noon on the 18th or something like that. You know, the whole 24 hours.
There was some amount of cans getting shoveled out of the house the next day. Like, there was just so many bags. Miles here was complicit to that.
Were you there in that one?
He was, yeah. He just sat in the corner of the room with two of the other lads, just drinking the whole weekend. Barely left the place, like...
I
think that was your first time in Edinburgh as well, and you're just in our flat.
That was brilliant. That was okay.
That went on to like Tuesday morning.
Yeah,
or something.
That went on for ages. What's your take then on? Yeah, that was bad. What's your take on? All right. That was our first kind of proper Paddy's Day in living. Yeah, it would have been because.
It was 2017.
The thing was because we got there in I wasn't there. I was there for 2016, but that would have been a Thursday.
Yeah.
And it not being a public holiday in the UK, you wouldn't. Nobody would be able to do as much. But when it was on a Friday, that was our first proper one there. Yeah. Do you find it's a big difference between when you're Irish and you're at home in Ireland celebrating Paddy's Day to when, let's say, you move abroad, when you move to the UK or Australia? Well, in our case, the UK is the only place we moved to. Do you find it makes a big difference?
Yeah, I felt more inclined to actually do something for it, because like last year I didn't do anything on Paddy's Day, and this year I'm like a bit of revelry now over the weekend, but Monday I'm not too pushed. But I think it's the case for a lot of people when they go abroad as well, to kind of get a bit more right, because when people are here they're like, oh no, Ireland's this, that and the other, and then they go abroad they're like, oh yeah I love Ireland. So.
Yeah no, I found that big time, which is trying to celebrate it that year.
Were you Paddy's Day abroad anywhere else?
So the UK in Edinburgh. I was in Nicaragua for Paddy's Day, but I was working. There wouldn't have been nothing to do. There wouldn't have been anything to do. So I was there, but didn't do anything. Nobody did anything. I was just working. I was somewhere really, really, really remote anyway, so there wasn't barely any other people. In Spain, I've been in Spain for St. Patrick's Day. I've been in Valencia. The funny thing is, do you know the biggest event in Valencia, Fallas?
No,
it's like Valencia St. Patrick's Day. They build loads of all around Valencia. They build like these really, really big, elaborate, cartoony looking like effigies, and then they burn them eventually, and and that's their big thing. The funny thing is, Fallas it always falls on when St. Patrick's Day is. St. Patrick's Day is during Fallas. So I was there during it, but it was a way more other things than St. Patrick's Day going on. Have I been in other parts of Spain during it? Yeah, but only ever in places where I was somewhere really remote in Spain as well, and there wouldn't have been anything going on. So no, I mean, where I'd like to go the most for it, I'd like to see more of the UK cities with it, like Liverpool. We know a lot of guys going to Liverpool for it this year.
Yeah, Liverpool's a big one. Birmingham as well. London obviously too. Apparently there's a big thing in Trafalgar Square. Manchester apparently holds a 2-week Irish festival.
A 2-week Irish festival?
Yeah, I know. I didn't look into that too much and research this a whole lot. So
yeah, that's fair. I'd love to. I mean, naturally the North American ones, New York, Boston, Chicago, the big one, St. Patrick's Day. I'd love to see one of those someday. There used to be in Chicago, they used to dye the river green for it.
Did they not still do that?
Maybe they do. I was told. I have the feeling I was told by someone recently that they had to stop doing it.
You think they stopped doing it?
I don't know if they. I'm pretty sure I overheard someone. Not overheard. I'm pretty sure someone said that to me recently. But I hope maybe I had a dream and someone from Chicago said that to me, and I'm just thinking it's real. I couldn't really say.
Yeah.
But no, you're about to start talking about St. Patrick's Day tunes.
Was I?
Yeah. Well, I know it's something you're passionate about.
Am I?
You are definitely passionate. Am I? You were just playing them like before we started recording.
They were just songs from like Mullingar, like.
Yeah, well, like
the man from Mullingar.
The reason why I left Mullingar. Squeeze box of Mullingar.
Squeeze box.
No, sneeze box or squeeze box.
Squeeze box.
Is it squeeze box?
Yeah, it's squeeze box.
Yeah. Well, what's the other big ones then? You're like the king of these tunes.
Oh, that's another friend of ours. That's Big Mick.
Oh, right. Do you reckon?
Yeah.
I think you go toe to toe with him.
I don't know. I like the Dubliners and that, but
you're kind of selling yourself short here.
I'm a bit locked, so I can't really think off the top of my head now.
That's fair, yeah. I mean, I think it's rightly so.
Well, what are your go-to Paddy's tunes then?
Okay, that is a better question. Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is, "Zombie" by the Cranberries. That's been a big song since it came out in the 90s. But it's taken on a really, really big different significance, not just since Dolores O'Riordan died in 2018, but it's a really, really big like sporting event tune in Ireland now. People singing it. Yeah, big time, big time. I feel like quite in the last few years. I mean, that's just a classic, that one in general. To be honest, what I used to love was do you remember like 10 years ago, 15 years ago, there was a huge genre of satirical comedy rap in Ireland? I used to love playing those tunes. I used to love it. All those joke tunes. Naturally, the Rubber Bandits ones. I mean, Horse Outside's the biggest one, and has a Mullingar bar in it, so we'll like that too. But no, my favourite one was always Too Many Gee. What?
All right.
It's a good one. It's funny. Oh, do you remember in the Crew Cracalcha? Is that what they're called? The one that's Mahlam Techno?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was a big one. That was a huge one, yeah. There was quite a few of these, there was quite a few of these big jokey ones. Oh, Jesus, do you remember the demo? They feel slightly cringy now, but we used to love them. Remember the Demo Ivor tunes?
They were always cringy.
They were such a hit. They were on heavy rotation on the day with that kind of thing. With, what was it even called again? Miles?
I can't remember what it's called, no.
Demo and Ivor?
Everybody's Drinking?
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
Christmas.
I remember the first one, Everybody's Drinking, yeah. Initially, do you remember, before Versatile were actually like big or real rappers to any capacity. They were like joking YouTube rappers who made like one song a year or something like that. Those were like the really old ones were on heavy rotation for that.
They were good back.
They were Mad Scene was fucking hilarious back then. Absolutely hilarious. No, it's just shit like that. That'd be my favourite one, to be honest. Like,
I'm partial to a bit of Westlife and Boyzone and Paddy's
big time,
as well.
No, big time.
When you're looking like that, is a great shit.
Those would be necessaries, The Bewitched one.
Oh, yeah.
What's that called? Say you're going to say? Is that what it's called?
C'est la vie, is it?
C'est la vie, yeah. Anything by Dustin the Turkey.
Oh, yeah.
Anything by Dustin the Turkey. Ireland Dupois. And also his what's it? Born Greasy.
Born Greasy.
Oh my god, that's such drugs music.
That's
such. I know it's a cover of Born Slippy, which is in a movie about heroin addiction, but Jesus, he outdruggies even Underworld, I think, with his cover of it. I will actually genuinely try that Shamrock thing, or actually look into it more. But what's the one thing I've actually been curious about for a very long time is, naturally we say the shamrock, the symbol of St. Patrick, the 3-leaf, little plant. In American TV shows, they say a clover. Are those the same thing, or are they two different plants, and one's in North America, one's in Europe?
They're very similar anyway, but clover's 4 leaves, 4-leaf clover.
No, but that's only certain ones are 4 leaves.
Is it? Yeah, I don't know, because originally, like, the shamrock, apparently St. Patrick used it to describe the Holy Trinity to people.
That's apparently a mistake. I distinctly remember being told that in school. I distinctly remember being told that in primary school. Apparently that's a misconception of, it is an old symbol. And it is associated with him for a very long time, but apparently the Trinity story is not. Miles has just pulled up the clover and shamrock definition. However, there are a few differences between the two. For starters, shamrocks always have 3 leaves, while clovers can have a 4th leaf.
Right.
Shamrocks are usually green, but you can find purple, green, or white clover. Finally, shamrocks grow in clumps, and 4-leaf clovers are rare and grow one at a time. So, I don't know, different plants, I guess.
I don't think I've seen a shamrock in a long time. Where do you even get a shamrock?
They're there. You have to, thanks, Miles. They're there. They honestly are there. You just need to go and touch some grass.
Sound.
I couldn't pass up on the pun, but no, if you actually just go like look through grass and stuff like that, you actually will find them. They're to be found. At St. Patrick's chair in Tyrone, you can find them at the base of the chair. On the snake story, where the old snake story that's not genuinely true, well, almost certainly not genuinely true, but is figuratively true. Where did he get rid of the snakes? Where did he cast the snakes to? Because I've ever put any thought to that question.
Well, it's not that whole thing you were talking about, and where was it, Armagh or Sligo or something, where he cast the demons into or something? I put them there as well.
Well, there's a few stories. There's one Loch Nacara behind. If you're on top of Croagh Patrick in County Mayo, you can see Loch Nacara behind it. But the lake itself's pretty hard. Well, it's a long drive to get to it. There's one story where that's where he cast the snakes to, and fitting place, being very close to Croagh Patrick. Loch Derg in County Donegal. Yes, Donegal. That also, I've heard stories about that being the place where it's always bodies of water they're cast off to. There's one story where I mentioned on the Lochrie Monster one, where apparently it was Lochrie in the middle of Ireland. Everyone likes to claim it, basically. You know what's one really, like, every bit of Ireland has a St. Patrick's story attached to it. So, you really don't have to go far to find something he did while he was wandering around converting. The Hill of Lara I mentioned outside of Mullingar. But like I said, there's at least 3 St. Patrick's chairs I can think of. St. Patrick's footprints. There is so many St. Patrick's footprints in Ireland. I was at one in Skerries.
I've seen that video,
Yeah, the one in Skerries. In Skerries, County Dublin. The story with that one is Skerries at the Irish Sea. And seemingly when St. Patrick was left Wicklow after doing some converting there, he went to an island that's now called St. Patrick's Island, Inishpatrick, about a kilometre and a half away from Skerries, across the water. He brings a goat with him, and for milking, the sort of thing. And one day when he's not looking, the locals of Skerries go over and steal his goat and eat it. I know, right? Not on. So what he does is kind of nearly like something in Dragon Ball Z. He jumps from St. Patrick's Island to Colt Island. So St. Patrick's Island to the mainland, there's an island in between them called Colt Island. He jumps to Colt Island, lands at 1 foot. Then he jumps another great leap and lands on what's called Red Island. It used to be an island. Now it's part of the mainland at Skerries.
Yeah.
And that's where the St. Patrick's footprint is, where he left, where he stood, where his foot hit the ground with great force, you know what I mean?
That's to be some jump now.
It wouldn't have just been, you know. And eventually he got the locals of Skerry to confess what they did. Allegedly, there's another St. Patrick's footprint on Colt Island, but Colt Island's not that easy to get to. Where's there other ones? There's one in Lullymore, County Kildare, which I have seen. Don't know much about that one, but it's just another. These are always. I've never seen one where it's two footprints. It's always one footprint into some piece of stone.
Yeah.
I've heard of another one in County Cavan in a field. I've heard of knee prints. There was loads of knee prints as well.
Right.
There's knee prints outside Drogheda town, County Louth.
Praying like.
Yeah, seemingly. There's one I've tried to find in Ardagh, County Longford. I have gone to look for it, and I know vaguely where it's supposed to be, but I can't find it. I don't know what a knee print's going to look like. It's just going to look like a little crevice.
Dent in the ground.
Yeah, just a little dent, you know. But no, there is, and this is not an exhaustive list. I'm not even reading off of notes here. These are just the ones off the top of my head. There's that many of them. But every bit of Ireland going around is just some, you know, random folktale attached to him like that. Yeah, which I think is pretty neat, you know. Yeah. Why
would he be leaving massive prints like that anyway?
I mean, I get the Skerries one. He's you know, incandescent with rage because he's stolen at his goat.
Raging, like.
And he's, you know, he's gone from being a Christian missionary who's, you know, a human Christian missionary to being like a saint, to being kind of like a Super Saiyan in the story. Yeah. So now he's able to like jump great distances and, you know, leave his impact on the earth and this kind of thing. So I guess it's to do with, I don't know, that kind of element to it.
Fair enough. Yeah. It's I don't know about that one now. It's probably just crevices in the ground. Like,
you don't think there's anything going on there now?
No, I don't think so.
Before the end of this podcast, not this particular episode, but in general, I will find some kind of a supernatural or paranormal belief that you do have some sort of idea could be real.
I'm a bit of a skeptic with these things.
Yeah, you're a little bit. I would even say you're a little bit cynical.
Yeah, well, I always have. So, is there any other places around the world where St. Patrick's is celebrated that's a bit out there? Or?
That's not Ireland, and that's kind of an interesting sounding story like that. I've heard there's a lot coming up these days about Irish music being popular in Japan.
Yeah, it's big in Japan as well. I've seen a video the other day of some band from Japan come over. And they
I saw that they played in Grafton Street. I think.
Yeah, playing trad music and are pretty good at it. Like,
no, apparently, seemingly Irish trad is very popular in Japan. But St. Patrick's Day celebrations in Tokyo or elsewhere in Japan. I don't know. Is it a thing? I wonder. It's not a holiday, I don't believe.
I know in Malaysia it's a big thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when I was in Malaysia, there was lads wearing Guinness shirts everywhere and lads drinking Guinness constantly. Like, I asked one Malaysian taxi driver, like, what's the story with Guinness over here? And he was like, there's a Guinness storehouse here and we just really like Ireland stuff. Class. And there's something called St. Patrick's Society of Selangor.
Where's Selangor?
It's somewhere in Malaysia, I think, but apparently it's really big there as well.
Yeah.
Which I think is odd.
I remember I was in Costa Rica because I was coming back from Nicaragua and I was flying out of San Jose and I was getting a taxi.
We sound very well travelled, don't we?
I know. I'm trying to put my best impression forward here.
Yeah.
But I was getting a taxi to the airport and you're one that with the taxi driver I was talking to her and she was from Costa Rica and she was talking about St. Patrick's Day in San Jose. And I was like, is that a big thing in San Jose, St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, that's a thing. It's because a lot of Americans, people from the USA live in San Jose or live in Costa Rica in general, so they celebrate and it's caught on there seemingly too.
All right.
I mean, I know the people who organise the Cáceres Irish Flan in Spain in Extremadura. Yeah. They're not doing anything in Cáceres and Extremadura for it, I don't think, but I know they've gone to one of the Canary Islands for it. Santa Cruz de la Palma, I think. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I've not been there. I don't know.
I haven't been there either. No.
You don't even know who I'm talking about.
No.
I know they're going there for St. Patrick's Day, and there's a bunch of music going on there for it and that.
Because they do seem to like Irish music in Spain as well, but I have a feeling that might come from Galicia.
No, Maybe, not necessarily. I mean, those are kind of different enough things. Not entirely. I mean, there is, funny enough, there is music festivals like that in Galicia. The biggest one's called Ortuguera. But it markets itself as a Celtic music festival. Because Galicia very much...
is that free one?
Yeah, it's free. Yeah, it's free. Yeah, I was there a few years ago. Because, they're... Whatever I don't know. It's whenever you see like maybe maps, like flags online showing all the Celtic nations, it'll show like Ireland, Scotland, Wales, the Isle of Man, Cornwall, Brittany. For the most part, I never see one with the Galician flag as well. But when you're in Galicia, you do see that. You see the flag with all of them, like 7 of them. Then, so they very much count themselves into that aspect too. But Irish music, I have a feeling that the Irish music that's popular as being Irish music isn't quite the same thing coming out of Galicia. But I'm not the most familiar. Now, I am the one that's been to a Galician music festival, so maybe I should know more, but no, I don't quite know exactly.
You should know.
Should I know?
You're Brinsley McNamara. You're supposed to know everything.
I know. I shouldn't be admitting when I don't know things, you know?
Yeah.
Fortunately, I just edit around that typically.
Yeah. Then there's the other custom of countries around the world lighting up big landmarks, colour green for St. Patrick's Day as well. Something like 50 countries, 300 landmarks around the world. Started with the Sydney Opera House.
I was going to say that one. Now they'll light the different colours for all kinds of stuff. Eiffel Tower by any chance?
Yeah, definitely. Surely, White House as well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Let me just see here. Central C, Cinch. One of the biggest UK hip hop albums of the year last year.
Yeah.
Here's a song called St. Patrick's on that album.
All right.
Don't know what else to do with anything, but there you go now.
Is it anything to do with
St. Patrick's?
Yeah.
Surely.
Yeah.
I've listened to it once, and he doesn't have, to my memory, he doesn't have like a tin whistle or like a fiddle going in it or anything like that.
I couldn't imagine that.
No, you can do drill with like fiddle. It'd be class actually. It's hard.
Maybe. Yeah. What do you usually drink on St. Patrick's Day?
Is this where we are with this podcast now? What do you drink on St. Patrick's Day?
Run out of notes.
Sorry, I'm just taking digs at you because
I don't have much else to go on.
No, I don't know. I mean, typically Guinness and if it's pints and this kind of thing. I mean, this year I'm definitely going to be drinking the Football Hooligans. I'm going to be drinking Football Special with rum. That might be it really. We'll just see how the day goes in Dingle. A lot of great bars down there, and you're gonna have music and all sorts of lively activity in this sort of carry on. Why? What do you drink?
Anything.
Yeah.
Whatever's cheap.
Do you know why? It is actually an interesting phenomenon that naturally March 17th being St. Patrick's Day, this is when that's the day that the parades would be on. However, there is towns in Ireland, the specific example we can name is Delvin County, Westmeath. They never hold their St. Patrick's Day parade on St. Patrick's Day. Last year, they held it on the 18th, the following day, which was brilliant because then you could have Paddy's Day in Ireland and then do it all over again in Delvin. It was brilliant. In Mullingar and then all over again in Delvin. It was brilliant. And this year it's on Paddy's Eve the day before. Do you know why they do that? And they're not the only town to do that. Other towns in Ireland do that.
I have no idea.
They do it because on the 17th of March, Mullingar, Athlone and Castle Pollard are all going to have their parades. Maybe more, but definitely those three. And any other town that wants to do it, you need to make sure there's a certain amount of emergency services there. Like ambulance and fire brigade and even police officers. So they couldn't logistically do it all in the one day. So other ones have to do it on a different day than the actual day itself. So that's why Delvin doesn't do it on that day. They're not the only example like that. There is lots of other ones, smaller towns that have to do it on a different day. I'm actually really curious. Is there a way of doing a St. Patrick's Day celebration like every day for a week if you go around enough towns in Ireland? Or at least for a few days in a row. I will look into this, by the way.
It's just excuses for more drinking.
It's excuses for videos and the crack and seeing the country. And
if they did
what is Weird Ireland about if not those things I just said? All right, thanks a million, Shameen, for the chat about St. Patrick's Day. And I'm not going to see you on the day, so I hope you do enjoy it and all, whatever you're doing on the day.
Yeah,
the days leading up to
I'll figure it out anyway.
Yeah. Miles, well, I'll see you on the day. I honestly look forward to it so much in Dingle. Honestly, it's going to be class. All right, but sure, look, we'll have a good time down there. I'm looking forward to it. And everybody listening, I hope you have a happy St. Patrick's Day too, wherever you're celebrating it and wherever you're not celebrating it. If you enjoyed this podcast, if you got this far into it, why not think of giving us a rating? And if you want to support this podcast, why not think about checking out our Patreon? The link is in the description. Thanks for listening, and see you somewhere else in the Weird Ireland podcast.